The prisoner of the dungeon in the ancient town of Darkwood, nestled among towering, shadowy trees, there stood a forbidding castle. The castle's tall, grey walls loomed over the town, casting long shadows that seemed to reach out and touch the edges of the village. Within its walls lay a secret known only to a few, a dark, cold dungeon where the kingdom's most notorious prisoners were kept. Among the townsfolk was a curious and brave girl named Lydia. Lydia had always been fascinated by the castle and its mysterious past. She spent hours listening to the stories told by the village elders, tales of knights, dragons, and the hidden secrets of the castle. But the story that intrigued her the most was the one about the prisoner in the dungeon. The elders whispered about a noble knight named Sir Cedric, who had been wrongfully imprisoned in the dungeon many years ago. According to the legend, Sir Cedric had been framed for a crime he didn't commit and was left to rot in the cold, dark cell, far below the castle. Lydia's heart ached for the brave knight, and she couldn't help but wonder if he was still there, waiting for someone to rescue him. One stormy night, as the wind howled and the rain poured down, Lydia made a bold decision. She would find a way into the castle and rescue Sir Cedric. She knew it was dangerous, but her sense of justice and her curiosity drove her on. Lydia packed a small bag with food, a lantern, and a rope. She waited until her family was asleep and then slipped out into the night. The rain soaked her clothes, and the wind tugged at her hair, but she pressed on, determined to reach the castle. When she arrived, Lydia found a small, hidden entrance at the base of the castle wall. She squeezed through the narrow opening and found herself in a dark, damp corridor. The air was thick with the smell of mold and decay, and the sound of dripping water echoed around her. Lydia lit her lantern, its flickering light casting eerie shadows on the stone walls. With her heart pounding, she followed the corridor deeper into the castle. She passed by empty cells, their iron bars rusted and broken. The further she went, the colder and darker it became. Finally, she reached a heavy wooden door, bound with iron. Lydia took a deep breath and pushed it open. Inside, she found a small, dimly lit cell. In the corner, chained to the wall, was an old man with a long, grey beard. His clothes were tattered, and his eyes were filled with a mixture of surprise and hope when he saw Lydia. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice hoarse from disuse. "My name is Lydia," she replied, stepping closer. "I've come to rescue you. Are you Sir Cedric?" The old man nodded slowly. "I am Sir Cedric. I never thought I would see the outside world again. How did you find me?" Lydia quickly explained how she had heard the stories and decided to come to his aid. She showed him the rope she had brought and began to work on the chains that bound him. It took all her strength, but eventually, she managed to break the locks and free Sir Cedric. With Sir Cedric leaning on her for support, Lydia led him out of the dungeon. They moved as quickly and quietly as they could, retracing her steps through the dark corridors. As they reached the hidden entrance, Lydia felt a surge of relief. They had made it out of the dungeon, but they still had to escape the castle grounds. The rain had stopped, and the night was calm. They moved through the shadows, avoiding the guards who patrolled the walls. When they finally reached the edge of the forest, Lydia let out a sigh of relief. They were safe, for now. "Thank you, Lydia," Sir Cedric said, his voice filled with gratitude. "You have saved my life and restored my hope. I don't know how I can ever repay you." Lydia smiled. "You don't need to repay me, Sir Cedric. I believe in justice, and I couldn't stand the thought of you being imprisoned for a crime you didn't commit." Over the next few days, Lydia and Sir Cedric made their way to a neighboring kingdom, where Sir Cedric had friends who could help him clear his name. With their support, Sir Cedric was able to prove his innocence and reclaim his honor. He was welcomed back into the knighthood, and his story became a symbol of courage and perseverance. Lydia returned to Darkwood, where she was hailed as a hero. The villagers celebrated her bravery and determination, and the story of how she rescued Sir Cedric from the dungeon spread far and wide. Lydia had shown that even in the darkest of places, hope and courage could light the way to freedom. Years later, Sir Cedric and Lydia remained close friends. Sir Cedric often visited Darkwood, where he would tell stories of his adventures and the brave girl who had saved him. The dungeon in the castle was eventually sealed off, a reminder of a dark past, but also of the light that could emerge from the shadows. Lydia's story became a cherished legend in Darkwood, passed down through generations. It was a reminder that even in the face of great danger and adversity, the power of courage and justice could prevail. Through her actions, Lydia showed that one person, no matter how small, could make a significant difference and bring hope to those in need.